Sutawacha बटन नहीं है Sutawacha Sutawacha Tadeva Parye Yogi Vasavyam Kalayare Sutawacha Dvapare Samupate Tadeva Parye What word meaning? Sutavacha Sutaham Suta Goswami Uvacha said Dwapare in the second millennium Samanuprapte on the advent of Tritiye third Yuga millennium Paryaye in the place of Jataha was begotten Parasara Yogi the great sage Vasavya in the womb of daughter of Vasu Kalaya in the plenary portion Hare of the personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Suta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born of Parasara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Please repeat the translation. Suta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parasara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Purport. There is a chronological order of the four millennium, namely Satya, Dwapara, Treta and Kali. But during the regime of Vaivastha Manu, there was an overlapping of the 28th round of the four millennium, and the third millennium appeared prior to the second. In that particular millennium, Lord Sri Krishna also descends, and because of this, there were some particular alteration. The mother of the great sage was Satyavati, the daughter of the Vasu fisherman and the father of the great Parasara Muni. That is the history of Vyasadeva's birth. Every millennium is divided into 3 periods, and each period is called Sandhya. Vyasadeva appeared in the 3rd Sandhya of that particular age. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport, Om Ajnana Timirandasa Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Shaskurum Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Desutarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachala pangulangayate giri yatkripātamande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. So we are in the beginning of Bhagavatam. We are in the 4th chapter. The chapter is entitled Appearance of Narada. He'll appear in the almost last verse, last but 2 verses, his appearance will be brought out. In this verse today, Vyasadeva's appearance is brought about. So in the first chapter we read that questions by the sages, and there was basically 6 questions the sages were asking. Originally Bhagavatam, we all are aware of this. Sukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. In that assembly, Suta Goswami was also there. He heard from Sukadeva Goswami. And in these chapters, actually, Suta Goswami is going to answer the question of the sages of Naimisharanya. So in the 2nd chapter, Divine and Divinity, very important verses are there. In the last chapter, what you read, 3rd chapter, Krishna is the source of all incarnation. There, actually, Bhagavatam lists out 22 incarnation. Generally, when you talk of Krishna, when you talk of incarnation, people immediately are aware of Dasa Avatara, 10 incarnation. So, yeah, Lord is unlimited. His incarnations are also unlimited. But Jayadeva Goswami composed that song, Dasa Avatara song, wherein he describes Matsya, Kurma, Vara, like that. So Bhagavatam lists out 22 incarnation in that sequence. Many of them are from also Matsya, Kurma, all these things are brought about Narasimha in these Bhagavatam verses also. Over and above it, bring the incarnation of Krishna, Balaram, Ramachandra, Parasurama, Dattatreya, Vyasadeva, Narada. So, Vyasadeva is very special. He is a literary incarnation of Lord Krishna. So, Krishna, Lord is always compassionate. Lord comes according to the scheduled incarnation, like it's mentioned here in this Vaivasthamanu. Krishna also appeared in the 28th round of the 4 million. There was some overlapping. So Lord descends, or Lord sends his powerful incarnation. Technically they are called as Shaktya Avesha Avatara. So Vyasadeva is also in that category actually. We all know that Vyasadeva is one of the greatest personality in the human history because he compiled so many. Originally there was only one Veda. In the previous chapter, in that verse also, Prabhupada explains more about Vyasadeva, that there was only one Veda. And in the previous ages, their memories were very sharp. They could easily grasp. But knowing the mentality on the characteristics of people of Kali Yuga, Veda Vyasa, he divided that one Veda into 4 Vedas: Sama, Yajura, Athurva Veda, and Rig Veda. And he wrote Upanishad, Puranas, Mahabharata, all these things he compiled. So he was a empowered incarnation, Shaktya Avesha Avatara. Lord potency, Lord Shakti is empowered upon him. That's why he could write all this Vedic literature. Okay. So he is a very, very special personality. We are all reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Upanishad, Purana. These are all compiled by Vyasadeva. So apparently it looks like itihasa, historical, correct? But there is a profound question and answers here actually. He's answering this question. So it is mentioned, how does Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna preserve this transcendental knowledge for future generation? Because Lord is always concerned. Because we all come to this world, we are all suffering in this world. We just do whatever our senses want us to do. So Lord is always compassionate, like a compassionate father. He is waiting for the opportunity how he can reclaim all the conditioned soul. So Prabhupada says, Krishna, in fact in that last chapter, if you would have noticed, the 22 incarnations are mentioned. Then it is said, it is Lord's incarnation are like, if you stand on the ocean, nobody can count the number of waves it is there. It comes and goes all 24 hours without stoppage in the ocean. The waves keeps on coming. Similarly, Lord's incarnations are there. Also, Prabhupada gives the example of if you want to count the number of mustard in a bag of mustard seed, it's very difficult actually. So tiny one mustard seed in a bag, say 40 kg, 50 kg, it's very difficult to count. So Lord's incarnations are like that. But in the Bhagavatam then concludes there with the famous verse, but Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. Ete chahamsa kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The 28th verse, it's very important because generally people have confusion whether Krishna, even in South India, it's always this confusion is there, whether Vishnu is incarnation of Krishna or Krishna is incarnation of Vishnu, all these things, correct? So this last chapter, 28th verse says, Ete cham sakalapamsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All the above mentioned incarnation are either plenary portion or portion of the plenary portion, Kala, of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planet whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheist. Indradi Vyakulam Loke Mridiyanti Yuge Yuge. The Lord incarnate to protect the thief. The same principle is there in the Bhagavad Gita. What is that famous verse in the 4th chapter? Yada yadai dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Correct? Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious principle, Lord himself incarnates. Sometimes Lord send will this powerful incarnation. He will send out his representative, bona fide spiritual master. He will send his son, just like in this Christian world also, Jesus Christ. He is also a very powerful son of God. He himself says, I am a son of God. Like in the Muslim world, in the Mohammedan, they accept Prophet Muhammad as a messenger of God. So Lord is always waiting, he is always eager, he is always anxious to deliver the suffering humanity in this world. That's why Prabhupada says, Lord not only incarnates in few of these, what is mentioned here, Lord is unlimited. In one place, Prabhupada says, Lord incarnates in all the 8.4 million species of life. Just like in fish avatara, correct? So fish, it's a species. So Lord appeared there, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, all comes for a very transcendental purpose. So this is how we should understand this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is composed by Vyasadeva, is written particularly for the people of Kali Yuga. That's why in the chapter, in the 10th verse, it says, Praye alpaisha sabya kalo asajana manda sumanda matiyo manda bhagya upadita. So in Kali Yuga, we are all short-lived. Our lifespan is very less. According to scripture itself, it is 100 is the maximum we can reach, it's mentioned. So, Praye alpa aisha, our lives are short-lived. Manda, we are all spiritually very lazy actually. We are all geared up, correct? Yeah, everybody works from morning till night. But spiritually, you see, they are all little lazy. Manda. Sumanda matayo, we are not fortunate. Manda bhagya, most unfortunate. Manda bhagya. Upadita, over and above all these things, we are always disturbed. Everybody in this world, they are disturbed actually. These are the characteristics of the people of Kali Yuga, which is brought out in the beginning of Bhagavatam. The first 10th verse it is mentioned. So, Lord make this arrangement, and Vyasadeva appears, and it is sheer out of compassion. Lord is very kind, Lord is very compassionate, so he can't see the suffering of the living entity. So he always wants to reclaim the conditioned soul suffering in this material world. So that's why this verse also says, today's verse, see last line says, Vasavyam Kalaya Arehe. Kalaya Are, Prabhupada trans Kalaya again in the plenary portion. So Krishna is there, his portion plenary, or even a portion of portion, Kala Amsa. So Hare, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vyasadeva incarnated, he composed all this Vedic literature. But in the next chapter we'll read how after compiling all this Vedic literature, Vyasadeva was still feeling morose, vacant, incomplete. So that time he approaches his spiritual master, Narada Muni. So we all know in our Sampradaya, Krishna, Lord Brahmaji got the knowledge from Brahma, Narada, from Narada, Vyasa. Like that this knowledge is transmitted in the Guru Parampara. So Vyasadeva, then he approaches Narada Muni. I have done so much literary work. Still I am feeling that incompleteness. What is the reason? So this is the humility of a pure devotee actually. So much, he was so scholarly. Nobody can, Prabhupada said, nobody can produce this many literatures. Correct? But Vyasadeva did this, but still actually he felt it is not sufficient. Then we know the outcome. So next chapter entitled is Narada Muni's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Narada immediately accepts that, yes, what you have done is very good. But particularly for the people of Kali Yuga, like he has touched on Vedas, different portions, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, all these things. People will be stuck there only because we are all looking for some material prosperity, material benefit. You do this vrata, you'll get this punya, you'll get this benefit, all these things. So in Kali Yuga, people only take that. They will not surrender to Lord. So again they will go on suffering. So that's why he says, you are not sufficiently glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So that's why you are feeling vacant. You are feeling that incompleteness. So Bhagavatam is the matured work of Vyasadeva's creation. After doing all these things, his final contribution was Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very important actually. That's why Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. We should make it a practice. Maybe Saturday, Sunday you are coming to temple. When you are not able to come to temple because of other things, office, taking care of family needs. So we should make it a habit to read Bhagavatam at least 15 minutes, half an hour daily. Read Bhagavad Gita. So, because it's not that once in a week we hear or something. And today we have all these technologies are there. It becomes very easy. When you're driving, you can play Prabhupada lectures, you can hear from Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita classes, Bhagavatam classes, all these things. So, we should, these are all actually again Lord's arrangement. If you see how this, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, all these things, facilities were not there 500 years before. So then one by one acharyas have come, they have taken so much austerity. You see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's immediate 6 disciples, 6 Goswamis, they took so much hardship actually to preach. In fact, Srupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they are all exalted minister in Nawab Hussain government 500 years before. But when they came in touch with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when they heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they quit all these material activities. They wanted to be a part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And they went to Vrindavan, they excavated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent a lot of time with Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, instructing them on the science of devotional service. So we got all this literature by their mercy, by their compassion actually. So, and Prabhupada in ISKCON, he made it a practice, correct? Daily, all 365 days, this Srimad Bhagavatam should be chanted, should be heard, somebody is speaking, somebody is hearing. So both people, both the audience as well as the speaker, both get purified actually. Just like there's a verse in the Veda, there are so many verses are there in the scriptures. It is mentioned, it is counted as more than 500,000 verses are there. You take all this, like we all know, Bhagavad Gita only 700, Bhagavatam 18,000, Mahabharata contains 1,100,000 verses. Like that, if you go on adding, more than 5 lakh verses, 500,000 verses. When we'll read, when we'll understand, when we'll digest, when we can practice, it's very difficult. But the essence of this is there in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed so much on Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. You'll get the complete, you will not, you need not go out of this actually. Everything is there in this. So we should make it a practice. We should read. Of course, many of you may be initiated also. So for us, it is very important because Prabhupada wanted this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted this. So we should be engaged in all this Navavida Bhakti. So it is said in the Bhagavatam, in that verse, there's a verse, it says, Sukadeva Goswami, just by reciting Bhagavatam for continuous 7 days, he achieved perfection. And Parikshit Maharaj just heard Bhagavatam. When he was hearing Bhagavatam, he was not feeling thirsty, he was not feeling hunger. He was just continuously going on hearing from Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is such a pure devotee. Correct? Again, we read about all this, Sutta Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami, the earlier verses. What is their position? They are not ordinary personalities. Similarly, if you are engaged in this Navavida Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasin, this 9 different forms, even if you try to perfect one of these, like chanting or hearing continuously, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantancha Didavada. There are many verses in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. We have to, it's not that once in a while, whenever you are free, it's not like that. Because this human form of life, we should try to become perfect by becoming Krishna conscious or God conscious. So these are the process given, and we are all fortunate that. So Vedavyasa, what he did, he has divided this one Veda into four Vedas, then Puranas, Mahabharata, Vedanta Sutra, all these things. Then one important contribution, what we have got is this Guru Parampara understanding. So that's why Brahma spoke to Narada, Narada spoke to Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya, that lineage, all these things are mentioned. Because Krishna himself says, Evam parampara praptam imam raja rashio vidhi. This spiritual science has to be received in a guru sishya parampara. We cannot speculate. We cannot study on our own. Many times we come across people when we go for preaching, they say, no, because Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, all this is very, very familiar, particularly with among the Hindus, among the Indians. They will be having all these things, books, but they never open and read. And even if they read, actually if they don't read the bona fide representatives commentary, actually they can be easily misled. That's why Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishya vidu. They were all rajarishis. And sakalena mata yoga nashtapa. Over a period of time, the message will be lost. This is how it is, this metal world. So Krishna makes an arrangement. He comes, like we all know, Bhagavad Gita, this is 4.2 verse actually, Evam Paramara. In the first verse, Krishna says, Imam Viveshvate Yogam Proktama Avayam. Generally, when you talk of Bhagavad Gita, yes, it is part of Mahabharata. Krishna spoke. People know 5,000 years before. So it's not that Bhagavad Gita was not available before that. So Krishna is clarifying, no, I spoke it to sun god Vivaswan. Vivaswan spoke to his son Manu. Manu spoke to his son Ishwaku. Like that, this message is passed down. Second verse, he says, sometimes the message is lost. So Lord makes an arrangement. So in the third verse, 4.3 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sa evayam mayatyadya yoga prokta puratana. The same science, Sa evayam mayatyadya, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, yoga prokta puratana, I am going to speak the same knowledge to you. So this Bhagavad Gita, message of Bhagavatam, these are all not something novel or new, modern, nothing. The same thing, same Puratana. And why he chose Arjuna? Then Krishna says, Bhakto asime sakaseti rahasyam yetaduttam. Because you are my Bhakta, devotee, and you are my friend. So if you have to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should try to become a devotee of Lord. That is the qualification. There is no other qualification required for understanding Bhagavad Gita. Just like in that pastime of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first met him in Banaras. So he was a young sannyasi, and Sarvabhauma was from the Mayavadi school, impersonalist. So they all rigorously read Vedanta Sutra, try to understand from different angles of vision and all. So when he saw this young, he was very, Lord himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was very attractive, all his features. And he saw he was just chanting. So there are some conversation, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is brought out. So immediately he asked, hey, you are a sannyasi, you should read Vedanta Sutra. Oh, you are like a sentimentalist, you are going on chanting Hare Krishna. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of humility, says, what he says? My spiritual master considered to me a foolish person. I can't understand all this Vedanta Sutra and all. So he ordered me, you just read, you just chant Hare Krishna. So he is Supreme Lord, he is foolish person? No. But he is acting like that. But when he went to his spiritual master, Chaitanya Charitamrita very elaborately explained. What mantra you again, my dear master? When I am chanting, automatically tears and all are coming. So he was not putting up, he was not showing up, but it was actual. It is like that. The Hare Krishna mantra, everything is there in this. If we chant nicely, sincerely, attentively, following all the rules and regulation, we'll come to that stage. He was like a madman, he was going on chanting. So his spiritual master said, you're very fortunate actually, because you have developed that ecstasy, you have developed love of Krishna. So he is Krishna himself. So there are examples like this. So Vyasadeva's contribution is very unique and unparalleled in the history of particularly understanding the spiritual subject matter. That's why we celebrate every year our spiritual master's birthday. It's actually Vyasa Puja. We don't call birthday, we call appearance. When Srila Prabhupada appeared next day of Janmashtami. So Prabhupada is a bona fide representative of Veda Vyasa. That's why, like in the Guru Ashtaka, we sing early in the morning, Sakshat Daritvena, Samasta Shastra. From all the Shastras it is found, Yukta is always continuously engaged. Kintu Prabhuya Priya Vetasya, because he is very dear to Lord Krishna. So that's why we always think of him, remember him, pay obeisance, like that. Each stanza, everything is comprised in that. And in the last verse it says, Esya Prasada, by the mercy of spiritual master, one get mercy of Krishna. See, Lord who is seated in our heart as Paramatma, he has guided to a bona fide spiritual master. Correct? There are so many people practicing spiritual life also. They are interested. A lot of people are interested. But to get a bona fide guru is very rare. Also, even in ISKCON, we have gone through all these things, correct? There are two camps, other camps, there also everything is same. But only difference, but very important difference is actually they are not accepting Srila Prabhupada's position as he wanted us to understand from the scriptures actually. So Prabhupada has given the direction, they are not following that. So sometimes people may say, what is the difference between, they are also good, they are also doing, everything is same if you see actually. Because we are all following Prabhupada, what he has asked us to follow. But the very important difference is this actually. That's why sometimes outsider, even ISKCON devotees, sometimes they are puzzled. What is this? What is the difference? Why this difference should be there? Why we can't settle? So all these things we have reached, we have done all this, tried so many things. So we are all very, very fortunate actually. Brahmanda Brahmite Kone Bhagyavanji Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lataj Beach. We have been wandering up and down in different planets, we would have been there. Somehow, by the causeless mercy of Guru and Krishna, we get the seed of devotional service. So if somebody is sincere, actually we come across a bona fide spiritual master. Not that, in fact, in one place Prabhupada says, there are many verses it says, by doing a lot of tapasya, by acquiring transcendental knowledge, and you come in touch with a bona fide spiritual master. It is mentioned actually. A lot of tapasya you have to do for all these things. Correct? But so in one place, so devotees, when they were hearing Prabhupada speaking, that means Prabhupada, we have gone through all these things. We have done a lot of tapasya, we acquired knowledge. Now Prabhupada passes for a while and says, no, I have created your good fortune. So the bona fide spiritual master is always eager. He wants to create good fortune for an aspiring disciple actually. So he makes the arrangement. And so Vyasadeva, Prabhupada mentions actually, so Vyasadeva was a scholar. After compiling all this above literature, he still felt dissatisfied. He approached Narada Muni, so that the begin in the 5th chapter will begin like that. So what we have to do now, we have all these things at our disposal. We should read, we should try to understand in the association of devotees, and we should preach this message. For just like Vyasadeva is so concerned, Krishna is so concerned how this transcendental message will be preserved. So he makes this arrangement. Now we have got this treasure. So we should also preach whatever little we can actually. Very simple on it, not that we have to become scholar, we have to become expert. Nothing is called for. Whatever little we know, we are feeling some benefit, we should actually pass on this message. So this is a great service all of us should do actually. As a preacher, that's why in ISKCON, we are all preachers actually. Different services, different devotees may do. Like different occupation you may do. You do it nicely, no problem. But at the same time, we should always preach this message to others. That is very pleasing to Prabhupada, that is pleasing to Krishna also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. And we have got all these technologies today. Those days it was not that 40, 50 years before and all. Prabhupada time also not much. But whatever little they had, Prabhupada, all his lectures, conversation, room conversation, morning walk, everything is recorded. It is all available. More than 4,000 plus lectures, conversation and all are there. So we should develop this habit of hearing from Prabhupada. Because when you hear from a pure devotee, spiritual master, actually there will be transformation. Just like we all know, we were discussing last couple of days, how this, when Prabhupada came to America 60 years before, all these Westerners, they just gave some hearings. Prabhupada was speaking on Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada was requesting them to chant Hare Krishna. They just took with little faith and see in a short span what all they accomplished, helped Prabhupada in building this movement. So this is the best welfare activity. Bhagavatam, there's a verse that says, generally we want to do good to others, people want to do good to others. It's a good sentiment only. Like you want to help others, give them food, give them clothing. People contribute for hospitals, schools. These are all good things only. But in these cases, actually, you develop good karma. You acquire good karma. So that again you have to take birth, you have to enjoy whatever good things you have done. Whereas the best welfare activity according to Srimad Bhagavatam is to preach this message to others. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, there's no one dearer to me than he who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita, gospel of God. So we got all these facilities, we have got this institution, all these acharyas, they have worked so much actually. So everything is ready-made for us. So only we have to dedicate some time every day actually. On a day-to-day basis, we should schedule our day in such a way. We have to do our sadhana, we have to do our chanting, our reading. Then we should pass on this message to others. This is the best service we can do to the humanity. So, Acharya Rupa Goswami taught us the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Just like the Mayavadis impersonate, they don't touch actually all these material things. Whereas in ISKCON, you see, we use all these gadgets, but we should be very careful actually. We should not use gadget for our own gratification. We should use it in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, we will get entangled. So it's a challenge also, but if we follow the instruction given in the scriptures, it is possible. We can see from the life of Srila Prabhupada himself how he was totally detached from all these things. He was achieving big thing he was doing for the Lord. So we should be like that. So it's a nice opportunity. So, like you are all sincere practicing for a while, and in the association of devotees actually, it is possible. So, we have pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, his books are there, and he has given all this instruction to us, how we should lead our life. Just like in ISKCON, Prabhupada has given this program from morning till night what we have to do. So, everywhere the same thing we are trying to the best of our ability. So if you follow whatever little you can from this, all these aspects in your home on a daily basis, it will be very helpful. Prabhupada even said if somebody is staying very close to temple, you can daily come and take darshan of Lord also in the temple. Because this Arsha Vigraha, when the Prana Pratishtha is done, it's very powerful actually. That's why anybody coming to temple, they can see actually, they feel some vibration here. The chanting is going on, deities are there, we take Sharanam, we take some Prasadam. All these things are actually purifying us. So these are some of the thoughts. So this verse is talking about compassion. Krishna is very concerned how this message will be passed on. So he makes an arrangement. He comes personally sometime. He otherwise sends his representative and they preach the same thing actually. So these are some of the points. I'll stop here. If somebody has any question, any comment? Any question? No question. Hare Krishna. Yes, bro.
It's all like the request by Guru that we should chant. And we also said like the Prabhupada is already to read and improve the quality.
Huh?
Reading.
Yeah.
So now, is there a contradiction or no contradiction?
Come again. Mike, you got.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was advised by his guru that you are not intelligent to read Shastra. But now we are advised to read Shastra. So is there a contradiction or no?
It's not a contradiction per se like that. No contradiction. Actually, that's one Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we all know, is Krishna himself. He was acting like that actually. So everything comes from him only actually. But he acted as if he's a fool. So it's a duty, because like we are discussing, right, we are all born in ignorance. That's why we offer that prayer, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. We are born in the ignorance. So when we read, why we go to school, colleges and all? You may acquire PhD or double master or doctorate in all in America this life. So when you quit the body next life, you have to again start from kindergarten only. Correct? If at all you get a human form of life. Because when we die, we know everything goes away with that. So, reading is very important. Prabhupada says that 4 principles, correct? Books are the basis, utility is the principle, preaching is the essence, and purity is the force. So like that Prabhupada has taught us. So in our condition we should read. In fact, Shravanam, Kirtanam, the Navavidha Bhakti, everything is covered, no? These are all, when some examples come like that, it's all very extraordinary, actually. Or just like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, so many pastimes are there like that. He acts like the Trina, the peaceful nature. He is out of humility, actually. They say that. Because then we know how he converted all the Sarvabhauma and all this, they all became a disciple, correct? So, quality is very important in all this Navavidha Bhakti also. We have to start, somewhere we have to start. Just like chanting, we are discussing it today. When we chant, we'll chant with offense only. Slowly, second clearing stage will come. We'll develop taste. We'll become serious. Then pure chanting, it's a process actually. It will work. So, the Rupa Goswami's principle, Utsaha, Nichaya, Dhairya, we have to follow. We should be enthusiastic. We should have patience. And we have to follow the footstep of the predecessor Acharya, Tat Karma Pravartana, Sangatyage. So, association, all these things are important. So, for us, Prabhupada even said in many places, correct? I am writing all these books to the book distributor. What he is telling? Not just for distribution, because all these in the Western world, temples are built mainly through book distribution during Prabhupada time itself. So you would have heard this one incident also during Prabhupada time. Prabhupada was somewhere in the West only. He was supposed to initiate few disciples. So, before initiation exam and all, we try to read, try to mug up few things because Prabhupada may ask question, we should like that. So, particularly, this was actually not initiation, actually, Prabhupada used to come to one of the Western temples, many devotees from other centers also, maybe 200, 400, 500 miles and all, they go on. Because to get Prabhupada is very rare. Because he's so busy, he keeps on traveling. So all the devotees, they come from the nearby center. So Prabhupada, the book distribution score will be read out to him, and Prabhupada will appreciate all these things. Oh, you are doing very good. So devotees always, they think, correct? Everybody, we do some service, we are also looking for some, our authority should flatter us or glorify us. We are all seeking for all these things. So these devotees were also thinking, because there was a tough competition and few devotees excelled in book distribution. So when Prabhupada called a top distributor and he was just asking, I'm not able to recollect fully, but the essence is this. So when he thought he is number one book distributor, Prabhupada will start glorifying him or something. So Prabhupada says that, okay, you have distributed books, all these things. Are you reading the books? You know what are the things in these books? Because with pain, Prabhupada has written all these things. He used to write from midnight 12 to early morning 5. That was the schedule for writing. So throughout the day, he was managing devotees, managing temples. So many problems are coming. Everybody goes to Prabhupada in the early days. Later on, he created a system. Initially, even playing kartal, mardanga, everything, he was only teaching his disciples. So hardly had any time. So Prabhupada wrote his books through voice recorder, dictaphone. He used to dictate from 12 to 5, and next day the system was there. The disciple will start use all these things, write again. So, like that. So, we may think we are doing good service, all this thing. Fine, everybody has to do some service. But Prabhupada knows. That's why in this situation he asks, are you reading what is written? I am painstakingly writing all these books, not only for distribution, for your reading also. Because Prabhupada said, all these books, all these purports, I have not written. My spiritual master is sitting next to me and he is dictating. In some places he says, these are my spiritual ecstasies. See, we may not be scholarly like that, but we have got this. So when we read, actually we come in touch with Prabhupada. That's why Prabhupada is present. Physically he is present, though he is not in front of our eye. So he is available in the form of books, his instruction, all these things. So situation to situation it depends. But these are all very extraordinary examples. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acting like that. As a fool. He is God, how he can be fool? We are all fool actually. So, so our duty is to read actually. It's actually a very tough thing, particularly if somebody is not habituated to reading during college days and all. Some people have natural inclination to read. So we have to force upon. That's why some regulation. Half an hour, 1 hour reading is important. Prabhupada says in the morning 1 hour and evening 1 hour we have to read. So like that, and all the instructions are there. So it's not that we have to give it should be balanced one. That's why if you see our morning program, Prabhupada only chalked out. Everybody attends Mangalarti. We chant for 2 hours. Then there's again Darshanarti. Then Srimad Bhagavatam class. Then everybody goes for different service. Then evening you come back to the temple. Full-time missionaries. He has given like this. Come back. Then again attend Aarti. Have Bhagavad Gita class. Like that. So Prabhupada called this as a sandwich program. So we do our sadhana. Our sadhana is very important. When you do sadhana, we are purifying ourselves. Purity is the force, Prabhupada said. So when we become slowly pure, little by little, when we go and tell. So when we are going and preaching, actually, Prabhupada in one place says, actually, we are representing the parampara. We may be like fool only, actually. We are full. But when you are going and repeating the same thing, what you heard from the spiritual master, what he has written in his book, actually it's like, Prabhupada only is preaching. Prabhupada example, everybody, good orator, all these things is based on Prabhupada books only. So you should cram the purport, my purport will be a best preacher, like that, and all Prabhupada has given direction, correct? He has given instruction. So we need not manufacture anything. We have to sincerely follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction, what he wanted us to do. And we try our best. Different person will have different capability. No problem. Whatever we are. Prane Artha Diya Vacha. Somebody can dedicate his life. Somebody can contribute for the mission of the Lord. Somebody is very intelligent. He can bring more people to this. So like that, we have to use whatever we have at our disposal in spreading the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this message of Bhagavad Gita. So Vyasadeva is doing the same thing. So we should all become an instrument. Nimitta Matrena. Any other question? Yeah.
Do you have any recommendation on how?
Regarding mic here.
Prabhuji, do you have any recommendation on when we're at work on how to preach sort of and not get in trouble? You know, how do we introduce Krishna consciousness?
To whom?
So it could be like to colleagues, to peers, or even to managers. How do we introduce that?
Actually, preaching Krishna consciousness, little intelligence is required. So everybody is intelligent in this world. So we will know their pulse, correct? When you interact with their peers and colleagues and all, what mood they are in. So if you can feel their pulse, little by little you can introduce. Not that we tell them chant 16 round or something like that. And if you try something sincerely, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipur dadami buddhi yogam tam tenama upyan. Krishna is seated in our heart. He will give the intelligence actually. So everything is given by Lord only. So Lord is waiting. Tesham satata yuktanam. Those who are continuously engaged in my devotional service. Bhajatam pritipurukam. When they render devotional service with love. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give you the intelligence. So intelligence in another place in the 15th chapter, Krishna says, Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So that's why we can always take guidance of the devotees. Everybody, we have all gone through this actually. Sometimes you may preach to 2 persons. One person may not take, another person may take. So there's a lot of dynamics are there. Because everybody, they continue their spiritual journey. So Krishna just sees our effort. Whether somebody we are able to make him Krishna conscious, that is not in our hand. Our duty is to preach. So like that we should think, and we'll not get into trouble. So we should know their little background. You can invite them to festival, you can bring them to temple. In India, back home also we do the same thing. Different people. Somebody may be interested philosophically, somebody may be interested, they like bhajan, kirtan. So like that, we have to pack them in that. Somebody likes prasadam. Prasadam everybody likes actually. This is the best weapon we all use actually. We should slowly take them prasadam. I had been to temple, I brought some prasadam, would you like to have? Particularly if you are speaking to Hindus, Indians and all, they will easily accept actually. So prasadam only, particularly in Kali Yuga, these things only will work. Prasadam will work. It is possible actually. And case to case it may differ. So that's why it calls for little intelligence. Anyhow, we are all very intelligent. We know how a person behaves, how somebody be atheist, you go and tell about, he may not accept. There may be some thieves, some may borderline also. Out all these things are happening due to ignorance. So we should try, and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, somebody may take it. So you become an instrument actually. If you become an instrument in Krishna's mission, Chaitanya's mission, that is the success of life. So we should try, but wherever opportunity is there, colleagues, friends, relatives, whenever you get a chance, you should try. Krishna sees the sincere effort of the devotee. That's important. Is that okay? Anybody else? Last question.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, the same incident you mentioned about the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's discussion, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is teaching Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the Vedanta philosophy, and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears him, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then teaches back to him on the Bhagavata philosophy. And then he speaks about the famous Atmarama Shloka. And then there's again the discussion, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that you are like Brahaspati, so much strong on logic, right? But the logic is Mayavadi, it's not Bhagavad philosophy. And then he tells him that it's not your fault, it's basically the Supreme Lord who had told Lord Shiva that in the Kali Yuga, you take form of a Brahmana and then reach this philosophy where you take people away from Bhagavata philosophy. So I was just thinking, I mean, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would have spent so many years just reading the Mayavada philosophy, only to come back to the Bhagavata philosophy, which was again preached by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the question is, why so, right? Because again, he spent so many years just reading the Mayavada philosophy, which is initiated by Shankaracharya. And he tells him that you're so great, like you're like Brahaspati, who is so strong in his logic and everything. But I was just thinking that why so many years somebody has to spend time on a Mayavadi philosophy, school of thought, again to be preached back by the Lord to accept Bhagavata philosophy.
So these are all some unique example actually. Whenever this example, or like Shiva ran after Mohini Murti, Lord Brahma ran after his own daughter. Actually, these are all very unique examples showing the power of Maya. You may be so powerful, but Krishna says Maya is very powerful. Daivi Esha Gunamahi Mama Maya Duratya Mamevai Prapadante Maya Metantarante. So, in this case of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, See, just like if you see, we are reading the qualification of Sukadeva Goswami in this chapter earlier also. So, Sukadeva Goswami was also a monist, correct? In the beginning. 4 Kumaras were monist. When they're entering, when they smell the fragrance of Tulasi, they became personalist, like that. So, why this happened and all, actually it has happened. Lord will something, it will happen. So, we have to take lessons from there, actually. So, what is the personal philosophy? Our Prabhuji is expert, I heard, actually, in Shankara philosophy under Mahasundar Prabhu. Chanchalapati Prabhu has told, actually, in few classes, we used to have a lot of discussion in the college days, like that. So, it's all happened according to the will of the providence. That's how we take action. So many years, yeah, it's like that. So all his followers, they all became devotees. Many examples like that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, correct? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was traveling like that, all over South India, anywhere he was traveling, he was preaching. So different, we are all in different stages of spiritual emancipation. So this is how we understand, actually. You would like to add, Prabhu, something? Sugar. Speak on phone. Prabhu is also practicing for a while.
Sorry. Having been a Mayavadi myself in the beginning of my interest in spiritual life, I think I can understand this question. See, basically, we are all fallen souls, so in the nature of in our fallen condition, the philosophy of Mayavada caters to our envy of Krishna. Basically, we are all envious of Krishna. That's why we came to the material world. Why should we be here? If we are all simple, nice devotees, ready-made devotees, we would already been in Vaikuntha and Bhagavatam. So the fact that we are here itself is a symptom of our envy of the Lord. In Maya philosophy, why it is considered the worst thing is because Maya philosophy feeds into the envy of the soul of Krishna. We want to be one with Krishna, we want to enjoy like Krishna because we are envious that he is enjoying, I have to serve. Why should I serve? Why is it that out of so you are a person, I am a person, we are all persons? Why is that person? He is given the privilege of enjoying everybody else and we are supposed to serve it. This kind of envious mentality is there in each one of us. So the Mayavad philosophy is quite natural for the jivas in this material world. But those who are purified by some or other over many lifetimes serving the Lord, serving the Vaishnava, serving Tulsi Mara, that is why we do this Ratha Yatra. See, sometimes when we do this Ratha Yatra, we distribute prasad. The person may not come to Krishna consciousness this lifetime, maybe after 100 lifetimes, 1000 lifetimes. But why the distribution of prasada is to build up the Sukruti. See, when our Sukruti means the good deeds, we have 3 types of Sukruti. That is, one is Karmonmukhi Sukruti, Jnanonmukhi Sukruti and Bhaktionmukhi Sukruti. So, normal punya, which people do, giving some charity, everything, is karma. It is karmonmukhi sukruti. That means the more you do, the more good you get, the more good you are continuously entangled in this material world. Then jnanonmukhi sukruti means the serve Mayavadi, sannyasi. You know, there are so many sannyasis, people who are preaching. If you see, not that, in fact, our preaching is very less. Mayavadis are preaching more than we are preaching. All these Jaggi Vasudevs and Ravi Shankar, they get millions of followers. That is, they are also having some piety, some regulatory principles, not necessarily something which is equal to our standard. Everybody follows certain standard. So if you serve them, you get Jnanonmuchi Sukriti, which means makes you more of a Mayavadi. You serve Mayavadis, you become a Mayavadi. So some of us who are fortunate, we end up serving the devotees, Vaishnavas, pure devotees, Tulsi Maharaj, temple, deity, prasadam, Mahaprasadam, prepared and offered by pure devotees. We get what is known as Bhakti Unnati Security. Like Prabhuji is giving lecture in his association, we are developing Bhakti Unnati Security. So it's just pure fortune. If Krishna is kind upon us, in the Upanishad it is said, Yame Vaishya Atma Brunute Tena Labhyaha Tasya Atma Bhagavinate Tadam Swam Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyaha Namedaya Bhuna Shute. Only one whom he chooses. When Krishna sees that this devotee's envy or this soul's envy levels have come down, he has come down in his envy levels, then he becomes merciful. If the envy levels are very high, Krishna will feed them more and more with Mayavad philosophy. And because we are not zero envy, naturally everyone is fed Mayavad philosophy. But when it's like temperature, when you high temperature, low temperature. Similarly, when high level of envy, low level of envy. When our envy level comes down, then we are given the fortune of associating with the devotees. Somehow getting associated with Krishna. That's why different people take different times. Somebody takes very quickly to Krishna consciousness. Somebody initially has to go through Mayavada and then
Somebody is online now.
so the more our envy level, the more we are attracted to this idea that I am one with Krishna. I can enjoy that Krishna. So why that question you ask, why is it that one has to go through it? Because we have envy level. To give up envy level, Krishna consciousness will be attracted. So we are fortunate, especially somebody like me. I wanted to be pervading the entire universe. When I was in my younger days, I want to be all pervaded because God is all pervading. Envious. So somehow by the mercy of Madhu Pandit Prabhu, I have come to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise I was Mayavadi. Like that. So that I hope that answers that point. Thank you, brother.
Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki I told him. You can find out who knows it.
Test and all. Deadline is test and very organized.
वो ले लेना बुक सभा का है पहुँचा देना
Sorry bro, क्या हुआ?
Sridham?
हो रहा है